Welcome to The Trend. I'm Rebecca Granet. We are joined by a real-life superhero today. She is the three-time WWE Women's Champion, a dedicated animal rights advocate, and now an author. Her first book is out today. It is called Crazy Is My Superpower. We are joined by AJ Mendez Brooks. How are you, AJ?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. AJ, I'm so excited to talk to you about this wonderful book. It is all about taking the challenges in life and turning them into your greatest triumphs, your greatest strengths. But in order to express that, so much of what you had to put in here was so brave for you to write down. How did you go through that process, and how does it feel now, today being the big day, that your sort of life is in the hands of so many people?
Oh gosh.
Don't think about it.
But no pressure. Yeah, you know, for me, getting to travel the world and do autograph signings all the time while wrestling, I would meet so many fans who would break down into tears and, without knowing my story, somehow have connected the dots, and they would tell me, I'm going through depression, I have anxiety, cutting, suicide attempts, these incredibly brave personal stories they would share with me, and they would tell me that through my character, who was supposed to be this crazy girl, they found someone to connect to, and they felt like they were less alone. And so having those experiences and having people be brave enough to open up to me and really made me realize I needed to step up and reciprocate that and put my story, warts and all, out into the world and let them know they were right. You know, we are the same and they're not alone. And you know, I've been through everything they've been through.
Yeah. In the acknowledgments of the book, which I thought was so nice the way you wrote it, you said as you were going through this process of writing, you were eating a tremendous amount of carbohydrates.
Yes. Stress eating.
And doing also a lot of crying.
Yes.
What was it cathartic for you, right? For you personally, to get all this onto paper?
Yeah, I've had people ask me like how I have such vivid memories of you know, certain moments in the book, and for me, when they're traumatic, when you go through trauma, it stays with you, and you spend so long trying to put it somewhere in the back of your mind and not look at it too closely, because it brings all the emotions to the surface. To be able to access those emotions was traumatizing, and I was like heavily sobbing while writing these chapters, and wow. The second the chapter was over, I really felt this relief, and it was out there in the world, and I kind of, in a weird way, like that was cathartic, and that healed me from these traumatic experiences.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of that, you talk about your time in WWE, but you also talk about your childhood and the emotional moments that you had. Some of the toughest moments, too, being evicted almost 20 times from different homes along the way, and sometimes even having to, in your words, parent your own parents. Mm-hmm. Through that whole process, though, you turn to video games, you turn to comic books, to these great sort of super heroines as an escape. Was wrestling and watching wrestling as well, these heroines, were they an escape for you? Was wrestling an escape for you?
Definitely. I think it probably started out as not the most healthy coping mechanism. You're just like, I want to get away, and so you find these fantasy worlds to dive into, and I would read comic books and play video games, and I would start writing like part twos for these things, and I would, you know, kind of try to control the story. And disappear into the story. And then I discovered professional wrestling, and all of a sudden these fantasy stories became real. Mm-hmm. And you could really be a person that was a superhero in spandex fighting evil. And there was so much power in that I needed to be that. And so at 12 years old, I said, I'm going to do that. And then I did it. I was a very determined kid.
Yeah, no, you really did, in a big way, too. If you could go back and talk to your 12-year-old self now, because you said that you told your mom, I'm going to be a professional wrestler one day. This is my path. If you could today go back as AJ, go back to April Jeanette and say to her at 12 years old something about your future, what would you say to her?
Oh my God. So maybe the hardest sentence I wrote in the book was, I talk about keeping a promise to that little girl, to that little me. and then I will try not to cry on your show.
But I'll do it with you. I more than one time, trust me, you do. It's a tearjerker and uplifting too. So it's like all in one. But,
Awesome.
yeah.
I'm very happy to have made you cry.
Yes. Thanks for that.
But you know, like that is. There's always going to be that, you know, raw, just tender little girl that's kind of lost and is hoping that somebody will protect her. And through time, I had to be the person to protect her. And that was the only person that was going to. And so I wish I could go back and be like, I'm here. It's going to be rough. It will never be easy. But you're going to get everything that you ever wanted, everything that you ever dreamed of. And it won't be handed to you. You're going to have to work for it. But I know, I kind of just wish I could go hug her and also teach her how to like comb her hair properly. I had way too much knots. Yeah. My sister would like comb my hair for me. So I would maybe, you know, also give her some beauty tips.
Give her some beauty tips.
Just a little bit. So wash your face sometimes. Just try it out.
Just face wash. It's a good thing. Well, so what we did learn is that when you make a promise to yourself, you're going to come through, and that's one of the many things you learn in this book. Another thing that we talk about is emotional health in the book, and you talk about sort of counseling your mother through her late diagnosis of being bipolar, and then your subsequent diagnosis as well. How important was the path for you to finding out that there was help out there?
So for so long, my mother went undiagnosed with her bipolar disorder, and I think that what a lot of people don't realize is when they're struggling with mental health and they're not getting the right treatment, they're affecting people around them. And we didn't respect mental health. We didn't acknowledge it. And I think we failed her in that way. And so growing up and getting a little bit smarter and educated and trying to understand where she was coming from and that it wasn't her, and it was a disorder and she just needed treatment, healed a lot of those wounds. But it also taught me that I needed to catch the culprit early on, and I needed to, you know, be proactive and take care of myself. And that's really hard for some people to just take that first step. And whether it's, you know, talking to someone about it or going to a therapist or, you know, actually getting medication, it's a scary process. But when you come out on the other side, you realize you did the best thing for yourself and for your whole family.
Yeah, absolutely. You were such a trailblazer in WWE. No, it's true. And divas are now superstars. The Divas division is now the women's division. Looking at the future of women's wrestling, where would you, if you had a magic wand, where would you like to see it go? What's the next step that you would like to happen?
I think that there's two sides, I think, to wrestling and just business in general, and that is the women deserve the respect and the screen time, and they deserve the same sort of attention as the men get. But they also deserve the pay. You know, I think the pay needs to come up, and they need to be treated completely as equals as the men. Because when I was a fan, I loved the women. Like, I rooted for the women. Like, that has always been the most interesting thing to me is women's wrestling.
Sure.
And so I was a fan just for the girls, and I think there's a lot of girls out there that are fans for those girls. So that's where I would see it, being just completely equal across the board. I think they're well on their way. I'm so proud to have been a tiny part of whatever comes after. You know, you just want to leave a place better than when you found it.
Yeah, and they rocked it at WrestleMania. So.
I heard. Bailey's is a buddy of mine, and she's very, very happy. Yeah.
Oh, she told you she was happy with everything?
Yeah.
That's great. All right, in the end of the book, you wrote, when you finally live out your biggest dream, the next step must always be dream bigger. What's the next big dream for you? What's the next thing on your list?
First, it was just putting the story out into the world. I didn't think I was going to be capable of, writing, you know, a book all by myself. And there's a lot of people that, you know, initially would be like, oh, a professional wrestler, and she's a woman, you know. So there's that you come against all the time. And so I doubted myself for sure. And then to have accomplished this lifelong goal, you know, it's instilled a different kind of confidence in me, and I want to do it again.
You're going for a second book?
Yes.
You are?
Yeah. I fell in love with it, and it's something that was my strength before, you know, my body was, before, you know, I fought people, my mind did all the fighting. So I love it, and I want to keep writing. But also, I'm so excited to be working with NAMI and the Jed Foundation. And my goal right now is to get people to start talking about mental health and break the stigma. And the first step in the long road to treatment is to just talk about it and not be so ashamed or afraid of it. Because when you're not afraid, it loses its power. When you can say, crazy is my superpower, there's no more fear in that. And so I hope this book kind of inspires people, even a little bit, to start talking about it.
I love that. You, real quick before we get into the 10 for 10, the second book, do you know what you want it to be about?
I do. It's under wraps.
Okay. It's secret.
But
it
is very much an extension of this book, and it's
Okay.
it's the next chapter in my life.
Ooh, we're gonna get lucky. This is great. Okay. All right, AJ, we're gonna head into the 10 for 10 challenge. You get 10 questions and roughly 10 seconds to answer each one. Okay, I know you can do it. Here we go. We're gonna get ready. Here we go. Here's your first one. If you had only 3 words to describe yourself, what would they be?
Oh, awkward, uncoordinated. I think kind.
Kind. I like that.
Try to be kind.
Yes, yes. I like that a lot. When you entered the world of WWE, and after watching all of these great wrestlers on television growing up, who were you most starstruck by? Who was the one where you walked in and went, oh?
Oh, gosh. I think probably Ricky Steamboat.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the first time I ever met him, he just started teaching me stuff in the ring, and it was like all of these arm drag variations, and he's like, very famous for having like the most beautiful arm drag in the business. So to be in the ring with Ricky Steamboat showing me arm drags, my brain exploded.
You're like,
yeah.
The first feeling you get whenever you hear your WWE theme song.
So someone just played it for me this morning. It was like the first time I heard it in like 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
And it makes you want to start skipping, but it also makes you want to hide under a table. It's a little bit of both. It's a piece of me. So it's nice. It's nostalgic.
Yes, it's nostalgic. That's a good one. Okay, your favorite thing about being married to CM Punk?
All of the notes that he writes me every day, little notes. I think that's like the sweetest thing on earth.
Yeah. You'll like wake up, he'll have notes around?
Yeah, I'll wake up, I'll open the coffee maker, and there's a note in the coffee maker that's like, enjoy your coffee. Like, just like cute stuff like that.
Oh my gosh.
Just little considerate stuff I think is the best.
So he's
also,
a softie, that's so sweet.
He is a softie. And I'd say also he's really tall and he can reach stuff on the top shelf.
Oh,
I appreciate that.
That's exactly what you have to look for in a partner.
You really
100%.
need to. They need to compensate for your shortcomings.
Yes, I know. I'm like, yes. All right, here's one, which you might be able to either apply to CM or not. Your biggest pet peeve.
Oh my God! When people don't pick up their laundry.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
God, I don't know. I have so many. I know I'm like so neurotic that everything is a pet peeve. Yes. So it would probably be easy.
One of.
Oh gosh, red nail polish. I don't know why. I see it and it makes my skin crawl. I don't know why.
No red nail polish.
I have problems. Okay? I'm taking medication.
No, you do not. It's a superpower. We're turning into a good superpower.
So please, don't do it. Don't do it around me.
Just no red nail polish. We got it. I will never do it. I promise. All right, your most touching fan interaction.
Oh, it'd be so hard to pick one, but
okay, one of. We'll do that.
When I see a little girl that is dressed like my character was, and it's cheap Target jean shorts and the t-shirt and sensible shoes, and they're just like me, and that to me, I'm like, oh, I did something good. It showed someone it's okay to be a tomboy, and that's always the best moment to me. And those little kids I squeeze, I should probably ask their parents first, but
No.
No,
I think they're happy.
No.
All right, the part of the book that you're most excited for people to read. I'm sure the whole thing, but is there one part that you're like, can't wait for them to get to?
Oh gosh.
These are tough.
Yeah. I think the first thing I wrote is probably the most ridiculous thing I wrote, and that's a letter to my future daughter. It is so ridiculous. Like it's the kind of stuff that makes me laugh, and I figured let me just put stuff that I enjoy, and then when you're genuine, people will kind of respond to it. And I think it's just good advice for kids now in a very, very mean way.
No, it's hilarious. Like it's a good one. I'm like excited for if and when you have kids for them to see that.
Oh
letter,
yes, I will show that to my kid.
Yeah.
Used to have abs.
Yeah, I used to have abs. Say, look what you did to me.
Do not forgive you.
Yes. And I won't use any of my wrestling moves on you. So very nice, mommy. Okay, your cheat or guilty pleasure food?
Oh God. Is it a guilty pleasure food if you do it every day?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Yeah.
Okay. Donuts, carbs, breakfast
The judges
food.
will accept. The judges will accept.
Okay. Any sort of breakfast pastry is like I live for.
That's
like
delicious.
The world would be darker without like croissants.
Croissants. Oh, those are really good. Okay, I like that. Your all-time favorite moment in the ring?
The secret admirer reveal with Caitlyn. It was this promo that people really weren't paying attention to backstage, and so we got to write every word, and and we went out there, and it was a time when the crowd would chant "what" at women, and they didn't really want to hear women talk, and there were only 2 women in the ring, and we were honestly so scared backstage. We were like, are they going to listen to us? And producers and bosses were like, make sure, if they start chanting "what," just, wrap it up. And to go out there and captivate an audience and have them listen to the words we wrote, and it's just me and my best friend, coolest moment on earth.
Wow, that must have been incredible. Wow. If you could convey one message from your book, a message that you hope will stay with people after they finish reading it, what would you hope they take away from the book?
I would hope that they take that you can come from the literal rock bottom. You can be a poor homeless girl in New Jersey, and you can make something of your life. You can become a champion on television. You can find strength after feeling weak. I really just want people, whether it's, if crazy is what they're dealing with, or it's, anything else that people try to make them feel shameful for or feel are weaknesses. For me, it's being impulsive, being a tomboy, being short, not looking like other girls, being loud. These things that people try to shame you for, embrace them, because they're going to be the most special thing about you.
Well, I love that message. And so you passed with flying colors, but I'm giving you a bonus real quick. I need to know if it's legal to use the Black Widow to end fights once you're done wrestling. I need to know. Does this happen in life for you, AJ?
Researching statute of limitations right now. Anybody? You know what? I have wanted to bust it out a few times. I get the itch.
Keep that one in the back pocket.
Yeah, but it's in the back pocket. It's always a constant threat to my husband.
Right. I was gonna say somewhere Sam was just standing up and being like, yeah, no, she's.
He knows. He knows.
Well, AJ, you're just delightful. This book is incredible. It's called Crazy Is My Superpower. It's out now. You're also going to be on a book tour. You're going to be in Huntington tonight. You're going to be in Tribeca tomorrow. And for all the other details on the dates and how to get this book in your hands, go to ajmendezbrooks.com. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, so fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.